Hello, everyone. Welcome to Moon Mage. This is a tarot card reading connected to the new moon that's happening in Virgo on August 23rd or the 22nd, depending on where you are in the world. And I always do a brief overview of the energies that each lunar phase brings in, just so that you have an understanding of the kinds of energies we're looking at. This one in particular is really, really important. Even though it isn't the sexiest of energies that this new moon is bringing in, it's very, very important as it's connecting to the eclipses that are about to show up in September. It's eclipse season officially. And there's a lot that's going to come in with all of that. It is pick an image tarot messages. So I always encourage everybody to look at those images using your own intuition without overthinking it, and really just choose the image that is drawing you in, that you feel the most connected to. And then that will give you the overview of the energies that are likely to come in for you, or the things that you might need to look at during this lunar cycle. If you're not interested in hearing about what this new moon in Virgo is bringing in, go ahead down to the description box and pick your image and you can listen to your tarot message. But for those of you that are interested, at its most basic level, this new moon in Virgo is asking us to lay down practical foundation with positive intention. So what I mean by that, this is all about looking at things like our health, self-care, putting organization around the things that we want to create, cultivate in our homes, for ourselves. Like, a good question to ask under this lunar cycle is, how do I want to feel in all ways and in every aspect of my life? And then start planning from there. It is a great time for planning practical things. There's a massive connection here too between the practical side of Virgo, which likes details and likes to dot I's and cross T's and really build a solid foundation, have a strong plan around all things, to the axis of Pisces, which is quite the opposite, which could bring in the energy of rebelliousness, not wanting to have to do any of that sort of work, right? No discipline, not wanting to have to feel disciplined in these things, wanting to only go with the flow and kind of let themselves go wherever the winds take them. So there's a push-pull there with this kind of energy because it is on that axis. And why that's so important is this new moon is preceding the full moon eclipse that's happening in Pisces. So this is the area, and this is the time to be getting really practical and disciplined and really going within and figuring out what we want, how we want to feel, and then what actions we need to put around it in a very disciplined way, so that when we get to that full moon energy in Pisces, we can invite in the more dreamy aspects, the more emotional side to things, the more expansive and spiritual energy, and apply it, kind of weave it into our practical lives in the day-to-day, so that it's not this or that. They're amalgamating and bringing in this beautiful, harmonious balance. If we're taking the time to put the hard work and discipline in the things that we're doing now, it'll be easier for us to flow into that energy. And it's important to note that Virgo energy can be difficult with flow and flexibility. And because Pisces full moon that's going to be happening is an eclipsed full moon, it can bring in surprises. And then there's a new moon that is a partial solar eclipse that follows that in Virgo again. So this is going to highlight things that we couldn't have seen, couldn't have anticipated, that could come in and shake us up and rock our foundations a little bit because we didn't see it coming. If we're doing the work now and preparing now and getting ready to bring in this balance to these areas of our lives, we will move through this kind of energy much better, much stronger, and come out the other side far quicker than those of us that are just, kind of doing what we always do and going with the flow now, and not looking at these areas of our life that need more organization, structure, order, how to build a dream, how to bring more love into a situation. It could be a million different things. So these are really important things to consider at this time. We will all feel that challenge to stay disciplined and to understand that there's a broader picture here. The bigger picture is it's about reinventing ourselves and making space for beautiful things to come in, because we've taken the time to put in the work, to build a foundation, to reflect, to understand ourselves, so that when that massive surge of spiritual energy comes in with that full moon in Pisces, we're ready for it and we're just weaving it in. So All things to consider at this time. If you have stuck here and listened to this explanation, go ahead now and look at the thumbnail or the intro, feel into which image is speaking to you, and I will get started here with message number 1. Hello, message 1. So I went ahead and pulled the main overarching energies, just the 3 cards, just to save a little time in the video, but we will look at them together. I also want to quickly mention, I forgot to say it in my intro, that there's also a 5-minute new moon in Virgo meditation. If you're interested, you can have a look at that to connect to the positive aspects of this new moon. All right. Okay, we've got slow it down and moonstone. So there could be a little bit of a heads up there that using moonstone could be really beneficial for many of you. And when it says slow it down, and we're talking about a new moon that's asking us to get really disciplined and structured, it might be that you have a lot of racing thoughts. Maybe there's overthinking, too many ideas, and feeling a little overwhelmed and not knowing where to start. And using moonstone would help you connect into the intuitive aspect of yourself, the quieter side, the softer side, to help you formulate something in a plan, like for a plan for yourself in some kind of way, or connect to some sort of spiritual connection, wisdom, idea, so that you can then start building something from there. Either way, slow it down makes me feel like you've probably got a loud mind. There's a lot of overwhelm, maybe a little bit of confusion. And this is suggesting here's your starting point. Slowing your thoughts, slowing your process, your thinking processes down to make space for spiritual connection and intuition, because it's going to have a lot to say. Guidance, I feel, here for you guys. Okay, new moon in Sagittarius, focus on the positive. So we've got some fiery energy here. And it's coming on the side of challenge, focusing on the positive. So maybe some of you are going through something difficult, disappointment of some kind, and now you're grappling with what to do next. I definitely feel that with the slow it down. I feel like the way to that understanding, discernment, wisdom is by slowing down, even though that might feel counterintuitive. I think it's showing up though, because you will receive, and it's Sagittarian energy, which is philosophical, joyful, fiery, passionate, innovative. All energies that I feel like you might be given if you allow yourself to slow down a little bit. Okay, now we've got water energy, Pisces, full moon in Pisces, and we're going to be moving into a full moon in Pisces that is the eclipsed full moon in Pisces. Forgive. Okay, I feel here, message 1. Some of you have been going through it, definitely. Dealing with some difficulties, tension, conflict, and your mind is probably spinning right now. And the way through this is to slow it down, connect to your heart, to your soul, to your intuition, to the positive aspects that are still around you, right? With gratitude. And I feel like that will open up a gateway for you to move into healing energy that allows you to forgive and let go, so that you can move forward in some kind of way. Whether this happened in a situation on the home front, and I do think that's the case for some of you, or, in a friend group or at a job or a career situation, it doesn't really matter. This energy is for you. I feel like so that you can move forward and on to something. I'm so attracted to that arrow, the Sagittarian symbol of like, you can only go up from here. It feels like it's time to aim your arrow in a new direction. It feels like that to me for you guys. But yeah, this feels like you've been dealing with some heavy energies, hard things, difficult situations and connections. And it's made it really difficult for you to apply any structure or discipline to your life right now, right? Because maybe we're spinning a little bit. Surrender to trust. Trust yourself and your decisions. Don't be swayed by other people's strong opinions about what to do. Take action and be confident that you have chosen the right path. That's that energy of like, you're going in the right direction, like this arrow, like you've at least drawn the bow back and you're ready to shoot it, but there's hesitancy, there's fear. You're maybe dealing with having to drown out the opinions of others, and it's causing you to feel less than or frustrated, or maybe people have even said or done hurtful things around what it is you want to do or cultivate, making you second guess yourself. Calm your mind and emotions at this time. Allow yourself to go back within, to connect to spirit, to the universe, get grounded. Because I'm pointing to this because that red energy is making me think of earth energy, which Virgo is an earth sign. So getting really present and grounded, being here now, present, out of our heads, feels so important because you are definitely being helped. Message 1. You need to trust yourself and your decisions. And I feel like stand your ground around the things that you know are best for you, regardless of the opinions of others. You're on the right track. You're on the right path, as it has says. Oh my God, has said. Confident that you have chosen the right path. Take action and be confident that you have chosen the right path. Geez, I need to slow down. I remind myself that every time I do a tarot reading. Yeah, surrender to trust. So even if you're going through hardship with something right now, message 1, it doesn't feel like this is going to be lasting energy. Or if you tried to do something and other people or situations got in the way and you didn't see it coming and it's caused all this tension or frustration, I feel like nothing is wasted here. You will sort yourself out. You can move through this. You'll learn something from it. But that it's like a temporary blip, a temporary obstacle that you'll get through. Earth magic. Yeah. Okay. Earthing. Earth energy, really important for you right now. And if you chose message 1, you chose the red rose, and that we've got the red moon, and it's very much connected to being grounded, centered, sorted in ourselves. And that's definitely an energy here. And you've got the magic around you of the earth supporting you in some way, wanting to bring you things, because fairies is just suggesting there's more magic around you than you think. There's more options and opportunities around you than you think, that there's new things that want to be sent your way, but we have to deal with this heavier energy, that you're being supported, essentially. Message 1. I really feel like that, even though I don't think you feel that right now. And I say it all the time in my videos where this need for forgiveness shows up. It's never for the other people or the other person. It's always for you, so that you're not carrying that mental and emotional load with you on every turn, with everything that you're trying to do. Yeah. There's a lot of support here, though. I definitely feel that for you guys, more than you realize. But you must slow down and sort yourself out, get grounded, get present, connect into the crown, your third eye. I feel like it has a lot to show and say right now if you do. And sometimes too, when things don't go the way that we had hoped, it's because there was a better way. Even an easier way, even though it's never going to feel like that in the moment, that we couldn't see or we would never have tapped into if we didn't have to step back and have a redo or do a do-over of sorts. And there's something to that here for me, for you guys. I think this is like having to do something again, a redo, a reinvention of sorts, or a restart. All the things with re. Yeah, the Sun in reverse. 4 of Pentacles. Okay, 9 of Wands. It's fire energy and fire energy. Ooh, nice. 10 of Pentacles. Like where we're going here. 7 of Cups in reverse. Okay, 7 of Wands in reverse. There's definitely like a throw down your sword kind of energy here. 4 of Swords. Rest. Okay. Wow. All right. Message 1. Let's talk about the tarot cards here and the way they're showing up. The Sun in reverse is suggesting that something has gone sideways. Something didn't work out the way that you had hoped, and it's been frustrating. And it's also, I think, evoking some sense of fear around your stability, especially around finances. Holding on a little too tight, a little bit of fear. Maybe you even invested in something that didn't come back to you in the dividends that you hoped for, or it's just not producing financial stability. Some sort of loss here, though, definitely that has caused frustration and a lack of trust. Now, with 9 of Wands in the reverse and 10 of Pentacles upright, there's this opportunity. If you throw down that sword and relax your barriers a little bit, know when you need to defend your path, your chosen path, and do it in a way that is assertive and confident rather than fearful and aggressive and more conflict oriented. This is where you fall into this 10 of Pentacles energy where everything starts to pay off. Abundance comes in, prosperity comes in, but we need to kind of let go of this need to fight the good fight all the time. You know what it is? It's more like knowing when to fight and defend for the things that we know are best for us, right? With the direction that we're shooting our arrow on, the path that we've chosen. There's a little bit of defeated energy here, I think, with some of you, right? Because I have this weird, I keep seeing this turning in my head. It's like round and round it goes, right? Where sometimes we need to be in this, I'm defending what I believe in, what I know is best for me, versus I've retreated back within myself. I'm all in my head and overwhelmed, and I'm just sitting on things. And it feels like, because it came out in the reverse, it's knowing when to step up and defend what you know is best for you, and trust that you really are on the right path, as it says, right? Don't be swayed by other people's strong opinions. When it comes to what you're doing, absolutely defend your position, because it wants to take you into this 10 of Pentacles energy where you see a lot of abundance and prosperity. Even if that's not happening now, patience required with what you're doing. You need to go back over things that maybe haven't worked out, but you're still doing all the right things. And then we've got 7 of Pentacles. And we've got double sevens here, or sorry, 7 of Cups, not Pentacles. Geez, oh Lou. Emotional decisions, needing to make decisions, having a hard time taking decisive action, right? And then we've got another Wands energy in reverse, 7 of Wands reversed. I think that here we need to be defending our beliefs and what we know is best for us. And then I think we need to let go, right, into that forgiving energy, really connecting to what emotionally is best for us, following it no matter what, but realizing that having confidence in that is going to be enough. Now we can put down our swords. We can relax our barriers a little bit. We no longer have to have that fight energy. We've let go of the emotional turmoil that came with this, right? With that forgiving energy. And then we can move on. But you're coming back to this of energy of earth magic, slowing it down, and 4 of Swords, it's time to rest. It's time to take a break. The only way forward is through this heavier energy. And it feels to me that Spirit and the universe is highlighting that starts with you slowing down and reflecting, sorting out your emotions, finding a way to be able to make emotional decisions that aren't woven in with other people's thoughts and opinions around what you're doing, really separating that and reconnecting to your truth is the way to start this process, right? Then you can start building out from there. And I feel like building better and stronger than you had previously done, where you're in this beautiful 10 of Pentacles energy. Yeah, abundance and ships finally coming in, right? And I do feel like this is entirely possible for you. This is what's going to be showing up for you in the future, but we just need to, patience required, we need sort of emotional energy and frustration, get back to practicality and balance. We need to let go a little bit too of the fears around stability, lest we make, hasty decisions that aren't the best for us. Yeah. I recognize that my speech was all kind of crazy and discombobulated. I'm going to try to slow that down. I wonder if that's how you've been feeling. Just blah, 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 blah. Noisy brain. I always call it the monkey mind, where it's that loud. It feels like there's 4 radios on and there's announcers speaking over the radio, and it's just, you can't get sorted. Look at that. Dare. Take a risk and fly. Okay. I really feel like actually these fire wand energies are more about you stepping into the energy of, I'm going to protect and defend what it is I know is right for me, my creative ideas and aspirations, not in an aggressive way, but in an assertive way. And it's going to start with me letting go of this heaviness that I've absorbed from others or opinions of others. It's just sort of like dusting yourself off and confidently walking away and not letting other people's stuff and crap get to us. There's such a big energy with this for you guys, message 1. Take a risk and fly, dare. Dare to do it differently, dare to be different. Trust yourself, trust your desires and your ideas. Even if you're in obstacles and difficulty right now, this too shall pass. This can be sorted out. Patience. Wait for the fruit to ripen, which is what I said, right? Like, patience are required. You're doing the right things. There's a bit of a reset and a redo that's showing up here, having to go back over things and look at things again, maybe with a fine-tooth comb, which isn't the most fun, but necessary. It's going to lead you to that central card of 10 of Pentacles, abundance, prosperity, stability. All right. Yeah, I definitely think that you guys have a lot more going for you than you realize. Why I think this is focusing on the positive is so important and imperative for you right now, even though it's on the side of challenge. It's hard to do that when we're frustrated or hurt or having setbacks. But this is exactly where you're asked to be moving through this energy, because on the other side of this is abundance and prosperity. All right. I don't know why. I keep thinking about whistling. Whistling, like whistle while you work. I don't know if that's just about bringing joy into the things that we do, or whistling and birds, like bird song, and maybe being something, a way that you receive messages, maybe when you're out in nature and you're connected to earth and earth magic and energy. Something about bird song and whistling. I don't know what that is, but I'm saying it because I'm thinking it. Spider and manifestation. You weave your web in life. What you see before you is the result of your thoughts. If your current reality does not suit you, then it is time to make changes through conscious manifestation. Your energy can bring all you desire. So you are probably more of a manifestor than you realize, have a lot more practical magic in you than you realize, and you're being asked to bring this out, right? Spiders are connected to the web we weave today is the web we weave tomorrow. So if we want something different, we have to do something different, right? We have to make sure that we're weaving in our biggest dreams, our biggest aspirations, that we're not settling anyway. And I think that's part of the message here for you guys. But you are coming into a time of massive manifestation where everything you wants you back. It's just a matter of saying yes to it, inviting it in, and giving yourself that time to slow down and connect to it. I almost feel like some of you are going to receive some sort of idea or dream that you hadn't thought of, or maybe that you swept to the side for the longest of time, and now it's coming back around again because you're ready for it, even if you don't feel like it. I think that's going to be a thing for some of you. All right, message 1. I think I'm going to leave that there. I hope all of you have the most amazing, beautiful day, and really give yourself over to slowing things down a little bit. I think there's a lot of that you will receive and then be able to manifest from there. Like, there's a big shift and turnaround that I think is the result of you giving yourself over to this energy, going into forgiveness, decisiveness, trust, and defending what it is you know is best and right for you and the directions you're going. Yes. Okay. Have a fantastic day, guys. Take care. Hello, message 2. I forgot to mention it in my intro, but I did put out a 5-minute new moon and Virgo meditation. If you're interested, you can have a look at that. It's just for the purpose of connecting to the best aspects and energies that this new moon cycle brings in. So I just wanted to say that. And I pulled the main overarching energies just to save a little bit of time in the video. The moon's reflection, accept responsibility. Okay. So something might be being reflected back to you in some kind of way that might be uncomfortable, but necessary for your own spiritual growth or forward movement in your life in some kind of way. Okay, let's see what else. First quarter moon in Capricorn. Unleash your kindest self. Okay. So I think that there's been some tensions for a lot of my message 2 choosers here, not seeing eye to eye with people. this is sort of like an energy where we could kind of dig our heels in, especially with Capricorn coming in, where there's a lot of frustration because we feel solid or strong in what it is we want or need or are advocating for ourselves. But sometimes we have a hard time looking at the pieces that maybe we're bringing in that could be a little bit softened. And I think that there's something to that. Don't shoot the messenger. That's just what I'm feeling here. Unleash your kindest self and accept responsibility. It's sort of like if something has been going wrong or has been frustrating and making things, connection situations not go as smoothly as it could. It's sort of like the only thing that we're really in charge of and that we can change is ourselves. We can never change anybody else. And I feel like there's something to that here where it's like, if you can take responsibility for those aspects of yourself that have not maybe been showing up in the best possible way because of frustration, things will shift. Better balance will come in as a result. First quarter moon in Scorpio energy now. We've got watery energy here. Emotions. I think a lot of emotional intensity. It says release your blocks. Release your blocks. What is blocking you from maybe releasing a little bit of frustration and anger? From maybe having a hard time seeing your part in a situation? Is it pain or hurt? Is it something somebody did or said that you just can't let go of and it's caused you to not be able to kind of basically see the forest through the trees, which is something I say all the time. It's interesting because there feels like for some of you, this is definitely in situations like a career or a work environment or a community. But I feel like because we've got the water here, this water energy, this could also be like where some of you work with family and there's frustration, and that makes these kinds of situations even harder, even more intense. So it's sort of like where there's been a lack of understanding and forgiveness. There's an opportunity under this new moon to set this right, to make things softer, to make it easier, more harmonious, less tense. But there's something blocking you from maybe releasing some anger, from allowing your softer side to come out. It almost feels like for some of you, I feel like you feel like you're protecting yourselves from further pain or frustration. But, it's the moon's reflection. So you and other people, you're mirroring each other in some ways that maybe you haven't tapped into just yet. Oh, okay. I think this is giving us a bit of a heads up and understanding as to why maybe you have a hard time, letting go of your stance around things. Surrender low self-esteem. You deserve success, love, and abundance. Set an intention to identify and release any remnants of low self-esteem. This is where your blocks are, right? And self-esteem is manifested and connected to the solar plexus chakra, right? Our center of power, confidence, capability, taking action, but it also drops down into that sacral center too, right? Where we hold our emotions, things like guilt and shame. This is making me feel like even if you're showing up in an angry way with others for whatever reason, it's connected to this energy where you have blocks of low self-esteem, almost like if I take responsibility for that part of myself, then I am just affirming that I am less than, that I'm not good enough. Or, you start to tell yourself a story about these kinds of things. And it's just not true. I feel like you have this beautiful energy that not a lot of people get to see because you've put layers and layers of protection around yourself due to things that probably stemming from the past that created this energy of low self-esteem. So it's almost like we show up ready to fight and defend because on the inside, we're just feeling insecure about some things and hurt. And we don't want to ever experience those kinds of things that created that kind of pain again. It could even be that you have people in your life that are touching on those wounds that have not been quite dealt with. And it makes it even harder for you to be more emotionally open, to let go and maybe invite the other person's point of view and really hear it rather than just feel triggered by it. Because I'm feeling a lot of triggers here for my message to choosers, feeling very triggered as of late. On the bottom, it says surrender to creativity. Let your imagination soar. Stay open to all creative ideas about how to pursue a dream or solve a problem. And it's that yellowy energy, that solar plexus energy again, like that. I'm empowered, I'm confident, I'm brave, I'm courageous, but also it drops down into the sacral as well, where that creativity is, where we have creative ideas and they're flowing and we're intuitively connecting to them and we're nurturing them. And this new moon wants us to be nurturing all kinds of things. For you guys, I feel like it starts with nurturing yourself, looking at the things that create triggers for you and the way you get triggered and the why of it. So you can release these blocks and bring in more calm and peace and balance to a situation, because it's going to free you up to move into more flow and creativity around something. Expansiveness, ideas. Yeah. I feel like a lot of my message twos have been in some turbulent waters as of late, and it's been hard to navigate. Generations, there is a lot of wounding here that needs to be healed. Ancestors, low self-esteem, getting triggered, having a big block here where we feel like I can't show up vulnerable and emotionally open with heart-centeredness. I have to fight and I have to defend. That's what it feels like. This is an energy that looks like it's been passed down to through the generations, probably where you've had to be in these things for survival mode, but we're living in a time where it's not just about surviving anymore, right? It's about real, authentic connection, unleashing our kindest selves so that we can create from that space, which is a beautiful space that's high vibrational and brings in usually prosperity, abundance, and love and all kinds of great things. But this is a big thing for my message twos. So doing a deep dive at this time into your ancestors, into the things that you can see that have been passed down to you, whether these are generational beliefs, attitudes and ways of handling situations that maybe if you step back, you could be like, you know what, this isn't the best. And I can see how it hasn't been healthy for those that have come before me. I'm going to break this cycle and show up differently. That's what it's feeling like. There's a lot of healing energy. I think some of you might be healers. I don't know if you realize it. Because usually when we're given hard work like this and we really have to look at ourselves in the mirror and look at our shadowy side, the part that we know like this is probably not working, but I keep showing up like this, it's because we then in turn can turn all that wisdom and healing and knowledge into healing for others. There's something about that for some of you. I feel like some of you are healers and you don't realize it. On the bottom, we've got earth magic, and we're in Virgo season, which is the earth sign. So it's all about utilizing that earth energy to the best of our abilities. So I feel like for you guys, you might receive more benefit than the average person going out into nature, connecting with the plants, the trees, the wildlife. Yeah, because I feel like you deserve success, love, and abundance. It looks like it's always been at arm's length for a lot of you, like in the best, most fulfilling, mushy, gushy, lovey, beautiful way. And it's because of this block. I thought that was going to fly out. I don't know. I'm just going to keep going. All right. Got the moon. Three of Wands in reverse. Yeah, emotionally stuck and not feeling connected to your spiritual side. The Emperor, there's that energy of needing some structure. Aries energy, fiery. Oh, Knot of Wands and fire here. Two of Wands also in the reverse. Nothing really moving forward is what I'm seeing here. It's stuck, stagnant. Lack of creativity, passion, excitement, feeling disconnected from intuitively knowing what to do, right? Not feeling like, for Three of Wands, we're building something, right? Had some new ideas. We're starting to plant them. We're looking out to see, okay, how we're gonna move forward with this. But there's a lot of stuck and stagnant energy here. And I feel like a part of it is because of lack of structure too and discipline, which this new moon is fantastic for leaning into that kind of energy. Right. And sometimes accepting responsibility, if it's just for ourselves personally, maybe we're making a lot of excuses as to why we haven't done the things or taken action on the things that we know would be best for us, that would bring about a beautiful connection to our soul, our path, our purpose, our passion. We're sitting on it and sitting on it and sitting on it and telling ourselves, I can't right now because, and this could be Spirit's way of just saying, no, you absolutely can. It's time to break the cycle of giving yourself reasons why you can't. Yeah, look at that conflict. And it's wands. 5 of Wands upright. And I don't think this is just conflict with others. I do think some of you are dealing with that. I think it's internal conflict within yourself with the reasons why you tell yourself you can't, because of these blocks, blocked to your intuition, to this fire. A lot of lack of fire here, which is fire energy is great for getting things started, confidence, being brave, taking risks, using our passions and doing something with it, being really creative, right? And that bottom card showed creativity. And this is something that needs to be cultivated more within you. But with that lack of self-esteem, I think you're telling yourself a story here, why you can't have these things. Yeah, we've got 8 of Pentacles in the reverse. So really needing some structure and some motivation. And motivation is fleeting, so it's more discipline than anything to start building something. I think you guys have gifts and talents that need to be brought out. I get a lot of healing spiritual energy. And there's just, you keep telling yourself a story as to why you can't do it and feeling very disconnected from your soul, from your intuition, from that passion. I will say this, motivation is super fleeting. And I think I've already mentioned it. It isn't motivation that we need to get going with things. It's just a starting point, being inspired by something or having a creative idea or thought. All of that's fleeting. It's structure and discipline, which is not fun or sexy, that is needed to actually work hard on it and cultivate it. And I feel like that's a part of the message here for you guys, to remind yourself. If I'm not feeling it, it's because it's not the right idea or the right dream. It's just because motivation is fleeting. Now I need to apply some structure and discipline. Look at this. 10 of Cups. Or sorry, did I say 10? It's 9 of Cups. I need more sleep. 9 of Cups. Feeling emotionally free and connected and no longer discombobulated or frustrated by people, situations, or our own internal dialogue. No longer feeling triggered with why we can't have things or why we don't think we're good enough to do a certain thing. All of this can be turned around in this lunar cycle, and you're being given the opportunity to do just that. I feel like for some of you, one of the best things that you could do or start with under this new moon is connecting to your ancestors, doing some meditations, doing some deep dives into your psyche. Now, if that's new to you and not something that you're entirely comfortable doing, start small. Look for like 5 or 10-minute meditations or reading a little bit here and there about how to go about doing this, because I feel like you guys maybe have come into this life to break some karmic cycles in the family chain. And you're just bumping up against the hardest aspects of it right now, where we're being asked to stretch and grow, because you're meant to build and create something of value, I feel, for other people, but we're needing discipline and structure around those fleeting energies of motivation and inspiration. And, I dare say, I think some of you have not even been feeling any creative inspiration or motivation either, but you're about to become more emotionally connected and centered. That's showing up here in your outcome card, right? We need to reconnect to our intuition as well. I think some of you have, because of the energies up here, and I think that I think some of you have been dealing with harder people and situations. I feel like it's created a bit of a block into your intuition. All right. I definitely get a very strong spiritual energy from my message to you choosers, because I feel like these harder energies about ourselves usually show up for those of us that are having an awakening, and we have to start looking at those darker, shadowy aspects of ourselves so that we can heal them out and then help others with it in some kind of way. It doesn't have to be a spiritual career or path to do that. There's so many ways to help other people heal through things. I keep thinking about communication. Maybe some of you are typically really good communicators and you're going to do something with that. I don't know. Breathe, slow down and contemplate the tea. Violets and ivy tangled around the caves, or the eaves, sorry. Breathe, slow down and contemplate the tea. Violets and ivy tangled around the eaves. Yeah. You got to add back and do the crunchy hard work right now on yourself, because I feel like it's something that ends up being quite powerful and profound for you later and others. But it starts with some healing, some deep dives into your psyche. Just breathe. Looking at your triggers too. Because I feel like for some of you don't even realize that they're taught triggers. You've been taught to be reactive, maybe with certain things, rather than being responsive, if that makes sense. Potential. The littlest key can open the heaviest door. Yeah. There's some stuff that wants to be shipped your way, message to, ideas, inspirations, creativity being sparked again so that you can then utilize this Virgo energy to build around it. We got to start up here with what's going on mentally and emotionally. Wow. All right. I don't think that a lot of you see how much potential you actually have and hold, how much magic and power you have within you. And I am saying magic because I do think when you're sorted and centered and you're right, like aligned and balanced in your chakras and more open and connected to your soul and your intuition, I think that you're quite empathic and compassionate and, you know, somebody who draws in other people toward you. Magnetic. I think that's the word I was looking for. This is the card that fell out. And it says butterfly metamorphosis. Pay attention to the areas in your life or personality that are in need of profound change or transformation. You are about to enter a phase of expansion and growth, which will be highly beneficial for your future. Well, I couldn't have said that better myself. That's a fantastic card to cap this off with. You're going through a metamorphosis, a big transformation, a big change, and you're just bumping up against the icky, sticky parts that are so necessary for us to look and understand about ourselves, to look at rather, and understand about ourselves in order to fully be transformed. So if it feels exhausting and frustrating, it's not for no reason. There's a reason for everything. Yeah. Pay attention to the areas in your life or personality that are in need of profound change or transformation. You are about to enter a phase of expansion and growth, which will be highly beneficial for your future. And I keep wanting to say, and others, because I think how this transpires, going through this change and healing things out and releasing these blocks, I feel like it's going to benefit other people in some way. All right, guys, I will leave that there. I hope all of you have the most amazing, beautiful day. Take care, guys. Hello, message 3. I went ahead and pulled the main overarching energies just to save a little time in the video, as I normally do. And I also forgot to mention in my intro that I put out a 5-minute new moon in Virgo meditation. If you're interested, you can have a look at that. Its intention and its intended purpose is just to connect to the best, most positive aspects of this lunar cycle. So there's that. We've got, nice, domicile moon, abundance. So you have the ability to create something of abundance or have abundance show up for you under this new moon cycle. First quarter moon in Cancer. Push through any insecurity. Okay. So insecurity can be holding you back in some way. Maybe making it so that you're not taking those final steps or that final step to really push something through or really start putting something solid around what it is you want to create, whether this is a thing, a passion project, or even in love. It's sort of like needing to push through the insecurities that hold you back from having everything that you want. Having an abundance of love, material gain, prosperity, seeing something come to fruition. There's some insecurities here that we need to look at, right? And Cancerian energy is all about being in our feelings and our emotions, and it's connected to the crab and to water. And crabs like to retreat. So there's something to that I feel here for my message threes. Maybe you are prone to retreating in when things get hard and kind of hiding out and kind of going ghost mode or isolating yourself a little bit. So being mindful if you have those tendencies. Full moon in Sagittarius. See the bigger picture. Right. So expanding our view. So if you're feeling stuck too, which has created or touched on an insecurity, or maybe something went a little bit sideways and that's also kind of connected and touched on some of your insecurities and triggered them a little bit, broadening your view, widening your view. What's the big picture? What is the big thing that you're actually going for, wanting, or trying to cultivate, rather than getting so hyper focused on the little things that might be causing you issues or frustration or insecurities right now? It's sort of like being up on your eagle's perch and looking down and seeing the whole thing. I feel like cultivating from that place, like this is my end goal. And there's a lot of little steps in between, and that's okay. It's just, I just got to take that one foot in front of the other approach. I just got to do the next thing that scares me a little bit and it stirs up my emotional body a little bit. But ultimately, this is what it's leading you to, right? To that abundance. All the more reason to say yes. Okay, let's pull some more cards here. It's interesting though, because with Newman and Virgo, it's all about cultivating a plan and a structure and following it and putting things into place. But because it's on that axis of Pisces, right? It says, but leave room for flexibility. And I feel like with yours, as you might get hyper focused on the details, like that Virgoian energy, and maybe being even asked to lean a little bit more into the flexibility of things, being more flexible around the things that you're doing or wanting or trying to have happen for you. Surrender to divine timing. Sometimes divine timing may differ from your ego's timing. If a goal isn't manifesting fast enough, according to your ego, be patient and trust the universal flow. Okay, so going with the flow, it is about that for you guys, that flowful energy. Again, seeing the big picture, realizing there's lots of little baby steps in between before we get to the thing that we really want, where that abundance is created and cultivated. And I think it's showing up for you because it's saying you are doing the right things. Now's not the time to take your foot off the gas pedal, but to go with the flow, to keep taking more steps forward towards whatever it is that you're trying to cultivate. Maybe it's a healthier relationship. Maybe it's a dream that you're building, something that you want. It can be anything, but divine timing is at play. And this is just sort of like your nudge from the universe, your spirit team saying, keep going. You've got this. Remember your why in the big picture of why you're doing what you're doing, what the ultimate goal was, where you're trying to go. You've got that archer arrow from the Sagittarian energy pointing you upward, essentially. Keep going upward. This says surrender to setting limits. It is healthy to set boundaries in relationships. Practice expressing your needs and remember that no is a complete sentence. Okay. So part of this could be boundaries getting in the way, not cultivating or having good enough boundaries. So where your energy gets pulled away from the thing that you're trying to do, cultivate the thing that you're trying to get lifted off the ground or make something of. It could be other people and situations are constantly pulling at your energy. You're probably very empathic with this water energy showing up here. So it might be all too easy for you to step back from the thing that you know you want to do and should do and start worrying about everybody else. So setting some limits around what you can do for others and healthy boundaries is going to be a really good idea for you guys. All right. And it's interesting because it says in relationships, and maybe some of you are afraid that if you work on something you want, a passion project, something purposeful, something that really gets you excited, your soul gets uplifted because of it, maybe there's fear around, I don't want to lose, my partnership or connection because I'm busy with this. So it's kind of like, how can we find some balance in this, right? With those setting limits. There might be some insecurity about that. Also, I get this feeling for some of you. I'm wondering if some of you have been told like you're too much before. Like, I'm too much. And so you kind of dim your light a little bit in order to bring in that peace and to be there for everyone else and show up a certain way, expectations of others, feeling like you have to meet their expectations. I don't know why I'm thinking about that, but I'm thinking about that. I think that might be a thing for some of you. Purification, right? So we've got pushing through insecurities and Cancerian energy, watery emotional energy. And now we've got rain and purification. Yes. Absolutely yes. What needs to be purified within? And this is direct advice from Spirit over here, right? This is what we want to do. We want to be, okay, I need to purify my thoughts, my feelings. I need to create some boundaries. I need to trust in divine timing that everything I want does actually want me back. Getting lost in the sauce a little bit though, leaning into insecurities, things not happening as fast as I want them to. And I'm wondering if that means I should take my foot off the gas. It doesn't. You're doing all the things. You're doing the right things, message 3, and you're going in the right direction. But there's still more to do. There's still more steps to be taken before we get to this abundant energy. All right. There's so much fire energy showing up in these readings. Okay, so we've got 6 of Wands, which is victory. Now, it is coming on the side of challenge under that divine timing card and needing to set limits. And it feels like, victory has just been out of reach. When you thought that the timing was right to have something show up for you, it didn't. And that's been frustrating for you, having to reconcile that. But we still have abundance at the center, message 3. So it's not like this victory is out of reach. It's going to happen, just not in the way or the timing that you thought, because we have to deal with this emotional stuff, these insecurities up here, right? We have to remember the big picture, the ultimate goal. Okay, 6 of Cups, and it's also coming on the side of challenge. That insecurity, that watery emotional energy. 6 of Cups is connected to home, family, and nostalgia. And sometimes getting stuck in this nostalgia of the past. I do think there's some insecurity on the home front for you, and like, what is it going to mean for my partner, my children, if I'm not available to them, or the people who are used to having me show up for them all the time at the drop of a hat, right? Where we need to set these limits, like some insecurities for some of you around that and what it's going to look like for them, worrying a lot about others. But I feel like it's setting things, it's creating this energy around timing, not just because of the divine, but also because taking your foot off the gas and like worrying about everybody else a little bit too much. Hopefully that makes sense what I said there. More Wands, 4 of Wands, and that's victory and success. And look, you've got partnership in there. I feel like this is a heads up from Spirit to say not to worry so much about everybody else and how they're going to do without you. Or if you actually do go ahead and set some limits and continue to work on the things that mean something to you, that matter to you. As it says, setting healthy boundaries in relationships. I feel like this 4 of Wands is suggesting that there's victory in that you won't lose this beautiful emotional connection and nostalgia and having things go sideways from making yourself a priority. Because really, that's the biggest message here, is making yourself a priority in what you want, and keep on keeping on, to keep going for it, to keep putting in some work and time and effort, because it matters. It's going to connect to abundance. 3 of Swords, right? That broken-hearted energy in reverse. So some of you may have been in some emotional ups and downs and turmoils from the past, especially by way of connection, and feeling like that energy of, if I'm too much of this, or if I'm too much in my passions or heart, or living out my purpose too much, I lose the other side of things. I lose people and emotional connections and partnership and romance and all that kind of thing, right? So I always have to put myself last. But you're coming out of that, right? You have an abundance of love either coming in, or that's going to be sorted out in a beautiful way that you can trust that it's okay for you to set limits. You've got a couple in there, victorious, happy times, beautiful things showing up for you, no longer being in heartache and pain. I think there's a huge connection to emotions and your family and your partnerships and how it affects what you do and how it always makes you feel like you can't do the things you really want to do because all this area will suffer. Like you can't find a balance in that. And I feel like Spirit's saying that's absolutely not true. Also, I think some of you have just been in some hardship at home where things have been emotionally heavy and brought in a lot of heartache and, you know, where there wasn't that peace anymore, but all this wants to shift. Yeah, the Death card. Patience. That's just patience. Because the Death card upright, we're saying something is coming into a proverbial death. We've let go. We're moving on. It's in the reverse, suggesting that this has been something that's been difficult for you to move on from, to let go of those insecurities and allow a new beginning and new things to show up. Nice. I love where we're going with this. The High Priestess, nurturing, cultivating, making things happen from a heart-centered place too, in the most beautiful, beautiful way where you're seen, you're heard, you're respected. You are that embodying that creative, nurturing, very intuitive and empathic energy, but in a powerful position, almost like a king, right? But I'm still creating and I'm still cultivating and I'm still making things happen that are going to bring in abundance. It's a beautiful energy that you're being led to here, message 3. But we need to look at what we need to let go of. We need to look at our insecurities, especially as they pertain to emotional situations where I feel like you always have to put yourself last rather than your dreams and your desires and your wishes. And that's just not the case anymore. You're being asked to purify that energy under this new moon in Virgo and continue to cultivate, to zoom out, see the bigger picture, see the direction you're being asked to take and take it and keep taking steps towards it. Keep cultivating, keep putting the work in and creating structure, even though it's going slower than you'd like it to. On the bottom of the deck is the 8 of Pentacles, hard work, right? That's it. That's that Virgo earthy energy, like toiling away, doing the hard work. Keep going with that. Definitely. All right. I think that you're a giver, message 3, and I think you give of yourself a lot, and that's a beautiful thing. But it's time to give to yourself here. And I feel like for some of you, you just have this, I don't like disappointing people. Twilight, surrender to the last hour when the light barely touches the flowers. So something in those twilight hours is going to be quite profound for you. Whether you're, somebody who slows down in the evening with a cup of tea as the sun's going down, or you're an early riser getting up, watching the sun come up. These are going to be empowering and powerful times for you. So pay attention to your thoughts. Really lean into that quiet time. It could even, just bring in some purifying energy. Maybe even doing some meditation at either one of these times. I feel like it's going to be super beneficial to you. Surrender to the last hour when the light barely touches the flowers. It also could be about, getting more rest on a very practical level, because we are dealing with Virgo and that's very practical energy. Allowing time for rest, rejuvenation, purifying your energy in those, but something about that timing, with the twilight hour, I think is going to be quite important for you guys. Bloom and attract more than butterflies. Yep. This is what comes on the other side of you doing this healing work, this emotional stuff, and looking at the insecurities and purifying your emotional body and setting those limits, is you bloom into that abundance. It's just a reiteration of that. Very powerful message for you guys. And you step into this High Priestess energy, male or female, it doesn't matter. It just means embodying both the yin and the yang in a beautiful way, in a balanced way. All right. Let's cap this off with a final message using the animal cards. Yeah, I think you've got a lot of beautiful things that want to show up, message 3. And you're so close, but I also feel like for some of you, you've been on the edge of wondering if you should just let something go for fear that. And I feel like the answer is no, guys. You're doing the right things. It's just, Your timing and divine timing is a bit different, bumping up against a few insecurities and obstacles. That's entirely normal. Just don't let them dictate what you do from here. That's what it feels like the biggest message is for you guys. Yeah, that transition. You must pay attention to the signs around you. The transition may seem frightening at first, but you must let go of old habits and patterns that no longer serve your higher calling. They would only hinder your growth. And I think that's that fear of like disappointing people and how will others get along without me, and will it cause emotional turmoil again? And I feel like the answer is no. I also want to say bats are connected to the nighttime, right? And they're in your internal radar, your internal compass, showing you where to go and what to do. I think you're very spiritually connected at this time too. Message 3, but that twilight hour and that bat energy, there's something about that's quite powerful and profound for you. I think it's going to help you see things and notice things, have aha moments around insecurities and what to do moving forward, and reconnecting to the bigger vision. Yeah, it says you must pay attention to the signs around you. So Spirit's really trying to talk to you right now. You're being guided, but we must create space to receive the guidance, right? And this twilight hour really is the way, I think, for you guys. So pay attention to that. Message 3. I almost feel like some of you are going to start seeing images of bats. Whether you actually see a bat or just see images in like artwork or online or on TV, I feel like that's going to be like a little bit of a nudge, like, hey, we're around. We've got some info for you. We're trying to show you the way through and forward right now. Yeah. I just want to say I was going to put these back and I was going to put them back the wrong way. And on the bottom was the whale energy, and it says communication. You're encouraged to communicate clearly from your heart. Bridge any gaps that are keeping you from connecting deeper with your loved ones. It is important to speak your truth with emotional vulnerability and power. There's a lot of emotional energy up here too, right? And I feel like part of that speaking and communicating is setting limits and trusting that it's not going to create the chaos or that you're maybe fearing that it would. So interesting there on the bottom. Whales are also connected to the soul and purpose, and flowing with our purpose and following our purpose and like listening to our soul song, right? So I think there's a message in that for you as well. All right, I'm going to leave that there, and I hope all of you have the most amazing, beautiful day. Take care, guys. Hello, message 4. I went ahead and pulled the 3 main overarching energies just to save some time, as I normally do. And I wanted to quickly mention, because I forgot to mention it in my intro, there is a 5-minute new moon in Virgo meditation. And the intention is to just connect to the best and most positive aspects of this new moon so that you can hopefully move through this lunar phase in the best way. So if you're interested, you can have a look at that. I just forgot to mention it, as I do. Okay, we've got moon, maybe, intuition. You know what's interesting is the fact that it says moon, maybe, intuition. It's like you have a choice to use or go with your intuition or not. So this makes me feel like maybe some of you have received some sort of intuition. Maybe you're not trusting it, you're not utilizing it, or it's about creating space to connect to your own intuition under this new moon cycle, because it's going to bring something new, but it's like, are you going to do it or not? Some sort of hesitancy, because it's moon maybe. Maybe you're going to draw in on that, or maybe you're going to listen to your intuition and allow it to speak, or trust what's already come through. I find that really interesting. I'm not sure if I've seen that card before. Oh, we finally got some Virgo energy showing up in these messages. It's last quarter moon in Virgo. Attend to the details. Yep, that's exactly what this new moon is all about. Attending to the details, really saying, how do I want to feel in all aspects of my life? And now what do I need to do to get to that feeling? And this is coming in the side of challenge. So this makes me feel like maybe some of you have had some more erratic energy, maybe a little bit lost in the sauce, maybe not entirely feeling centered in yourself, where you're not necessarily listening to your intuition like you normally would, or connecting in to your ideas and your thoughts, where you're not sure which details to attend to. So kind of like all overwhelmed all over the place. So this is the big ask for you under this cycle, is to work on these energies. And I think absolutely go with taking some time to connect to your intuition, or going back over something that you received that you might have dismissed and being like, should I have dismissed that? Because I think the answer is no. Yep. Full moon in Gemini. This is also, I think, the first air energy that showed up. Embrace the flow of life. Interesting, right? You are definitely grappling with the balance that this new moon cycle is in. So it's on the axis of Virgo's need for perfectionism and being detail oriented and creating plans and structures, and then the Piscean energy that wants there to be flow and some space left for flexibility. And I feel like this is something you're definitely having a hard time with. There's a lot of rebelliousness with wanting to do the hard things that's ultimately going to take us to beautiful things. So I think that for some of you, you're either getting lost in the sauce of details, and so you're not moving forward, and it's creating some sort of almost like a tumbleweed blowing in the wind where things just aren't being stirred up, where there's a need for flow, because this is the side of challenge and this is the side of advice from spirit. So there is some sort of need for you to go with the flow, to be more expansive in your thought, because that's Gemini air energy, mental energy, to allow some sort of communication, wisdom to come through, or to lean back into something that did come through and kind of know that you can work on the details from there, but there needs to be some space here for flexibility, I think, for my message fours. So you know what, in a nutshell, it's kind of like being very mindful of tunnel vision, right? Because there's no room for anything new to come in when we have that. Oh, wow. Okay. Surrender the drama. No matter how emotionally charged the situation, remain calm and don't contribute to the drama. Staying centered will help resolve the issue more quickly. Okay. That is making a lot more sense why their things are feeling out of balance, where it's like moon maybe, struggling with balance and these energies of going with the flow, kind of being lost in the sauce. There's a lot of drama around you, message 4. And this is basically saying you don't have to partake. You don't have to be a part of it. You can remove yourself and should remove yourself from this situation. It's interesting, right? Because it's that metaphor of the two wolves, like which one wins, the good wolf or the bad wolf? It's the one that you feed. It's like that. Don't continue to feed into this drama. I feel like it's causing a lot of discombobulation and dysregulation in your energy. All the more reason to say no to it. So again, no matter how emotionally charged the situation, remain calm and don't contribute to the drama. Staying centered will help resolve the issue more quickly. Yeah. Finding your center, I think. And for you guys, I feel like meditation is going to really help with that. Connecting to your soul self, to that higher mind. Okay. I keep hearing equilibrium, trying to find your equilibrium again. All right. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Clouds and shape shifting. So this is some advice from spirit as well. And it's saying shape shift, right? There's definitely some tunnel vision here. We're stuck in some dramatic things and emotionally charged situations, which is pulling our energy back, kind of getting lost in the details of whatever this is. And we're being asked to shape shift, to show up differently, to shape shift our energy and the way that we're showing up, because there's some intuition that really wants to come through that's going to help you in your personal situation. And I think perhaps trickle down into the situation that you're dealing with where there is a lot of drama, but we have to step back first, right? Moon, maybe. And it's definitely like it's not a fated thing that you receive this. It could be that you have to wait till the next new moon cycle in Virgo, which there's going to be another one more intense because it's happening with an eclipse before you do this, but you have the opportunity to do it now. Not only will the shape-shifting energy help you with what you're dealing with and to move forward in some kind of way or to create a positive shift, I feel like it helps you to be more in flow and flexible, so that you can then see the details that matter the most to be working on and cultivating at this time. All right, let's pull some tarot cards. I feel like this energy of some of you are dealing with a real thorn in your side. Somebody's a frustrating person or persons, perhaps. And it feels like heavy and exhausting to me for some of you. Okay, Four of Pentacles. I'll show you the card there. Four of Pentacles. That's holding on tight, feeling worried, feeling a little bit stressed out and anxious about our stability in some kind of way, whether it's actually with finances or a situation, which is showing up here with drama, right? Yeah. Queen of Pentacles. Okay. I definitely think it's to do with stability and money and finances and situations where you just feel like my feet are not underneath me. There is so much drama. This is creating dissonance. The foundations that I've been on are very rocky right now. And finances and things like that could be depleted or going out. And it's just creating a lot of frustration and worry and fear. Yeah, we've got Queen of Wands in reverse. You know what's interesting too, with it coming under that attending to the details, right? You would normally think you'd see like the Queen of Pentacles here, right? Because that's earth energy and this is fire energy. With her being in reverse, it's sort of like there needs to be some sort of application of passion, creativity, and out of the box thinking with a go with the flow and shape shifting that has been lacking within the details. That will make these details easier to navigate and make the situation more solid again. Yeah, look at Nine of Pentacles. Ships coming in. This is entirely possible for you, but we need to connect to our intuition to receive how to create this situation, how to cultivate this energy and get out of the more stuck, stagnant, frustrating energy. A need for creativity, out of the box thinking, intuition, feminine, nurturing qualities, I think are a part of the missing piece to the puzzle here. But there's some sort of intuition. These I'll just fill out from behind these two cards. There's some sort of intuition that will help you connect to how to bring in more financial stability and just stability in general to a situation. Yeah, okay. Nine of Swords, lots of burdens and sleepless nights, mentally feeling all over the place and worried and anxious and frustrated. We see that that's been here, right? And because we're stuck. We're stuck in some sort of cycle of thinking. We're overthinking smaller details and more particular things, causing us to kind of be boxed in and not expanding our view and stuck in this drama here. But I keep this feeling of where there is a will, there is a way. And the will starts with you, message 4. You have the ability to connect to not just wisdom, but direct guidance that will help you through this in the best possible way. But we have to shapeshift our thoughts, our thinking, our tunnel vision has to kind of broaden a bit here to get out of this more burdensome energy. I also feel like sometimes this shows up too, just to say, take a break, take a breath, take a breather. Because rather than keep going round and round with something, because mentally it's just draining you. The Lovers, okay. So a lot of people think that this is always about love, and it very well could be. This could be a big connection to where the drama is when it comes to money and finances and instability and fear around your security in your home life. Definitely could be a part of the equation here for some of you. But for others, it kind of goes back to that energy of Adam and Eve in the garden and temptation, where there's been temptation to not do the thing that you need to do or to do something that you know you shouldn't. There's something to that here for me. Looking at that kind of energy, have there been things or that I've been tempted to do that I did, or that I was guided to do but didn't and should have? So there's some polarity here to look at that will help you shape shift the situation. But I think for others, there's a couple of messages where this insecurity and instability at home when it comes to your foundation that you're family your love life is built on has been shaky, probably through finances, but it doesn't have to be. There's a turnaround for this. There's a way to release the mental load and worry around this and get back into more positive aspects of the lovers. But I do think that some of you need to look at that temptation and how it might be messing with your situation and your energy a little bit. I don't know. I don't know why there's something to that. Yeah, the Fool. Okay, and it's in reverse. Not wanting to embrace the Fool's journey and start a new beginning where things are better, where we're being asked to shapeshift. The Fool in reverse suggests that I think some of you are going to really grapple with changing the narrative and kind of unsticking this energy, kind of really, because it just feels like you're so hardened in it. It's like so sticky right now, and there's so much drama that it's very, very hard to step out of it and, move into more flowful, shape-shifting energy. But because you're seeing this and you chose this message, this doesn't have to be the outcome. You can absolutely shift the situation. It's just your willingness to want to do it, to step out of the drama, to take a deep breath and say, okay, I may not see how to fix this situation now or bring back stability, but I will, I can, and I must. And you will. I really feel like you will. Message 4. But yeah, something that's really rocked the foundation here has been very difficult for you to navigate, it looks like here. And this new moon is offering the opportunity to bring that stability back in, to bring structure in again in a more broadened, expansive way rather than a tunnel vision kind of way to shapeshift your situation. But this feeling this way and coming back into this kind of groundedness and abundance starts with you and your intuition and your ideas and unleashing that Queen of Wands and getting more creative out of your head and overthinking and into passion and inspiration again. This is part of the equation, I think. So if you start to receive creative ideas or inspirations, really, really lean in, message 4. They are coming in for a reason. They are part of your guidance and the way through whatever you're dealing with here. And allow yourself to explore, be curious and embrace that Fool energy. Yeah, hidden depths. You only see the surface, look beyond. That's probably the best way to sum this reading up so far is this is what you're really being asked to do under this new moon energy, because it will be the thing that shakes the foundation in a positive way that creates the ability to cultivate a new one with structure and beauty and abundance. Yeah, you only see the surface, look beyond. That's that tunnel vision energy. Generosity, sow seeds of kindness. And I always feel like this is really connected to trying to get back to gratitude and little things that we're grateful for, because that can really help us shake up our energy. But it's also about giving more of ourselves from a heart-centered place than expected or needed, because that too kind of comes back to you. It's sort of like paying it forward. What you give comes back in a positive way. So when we're in that energy, we kind of reap what we sow in the best possible way. Yeah, sow seeds of kindness. Moving out of that dramatic energy, allowing a positive shapeshift to happen. All right. I'm going to pull a final card here. I honestly feel like this card sums this up so well, though. Hidden depths. You only see the surface, and it's time to look beyond the surface level of things. Whoops, move away from the drama, etc. I have to pick that card up. It fell on the ground. So the card that fell out, guys, was the raccoon card, and it says letting go. This message has to do with those things to which you cling, be it a thought form, habit, creed, or situation. The time has come for letting go. Something is halting your progress and you are spinning your wheels. Yep. Once you embrace change, blessings will follow. Yeah. And your intuition is the catalyst for this, right? It's the starting point of what you receive and whether you choose to trust it and go with the flow of it and start creating plans and structures around that. It'll bring all these harder things that are where there's cracks in the foundation. It'll make them steady again, where you can rebuild from them, right? But what do we need to let go of? What do we need to look beyond that is creating this block or this dissonance or disconnect from a new beginning? where you've got all that beautiful prosperity and such. Yeah. On the bottom is Horse, freedom. You must break out of any limitations that are holding you back, whether they are self-imposed or put on you by other people or society. Break free and run faster towards your dreams. Wow. Yeah. I'm just going to put that out because I actually think that goes really well too. Yeah. In letting go, you have freedom. You embrace the fool's journey, that new beginning, and you start building a new foundation, one that's solid, one that is going to look so much better and feel so much better than the one that you're currently dealing with. That's causing a lot of frustration and heartache, especially on both an emotional and like stability type level, like finances and feeling just like things aren't secure all around you on the home front. For some of you, this is general, so that will make sense for all of you. All right. I think I'm going to leave that there. And I hope all of you have the most amazing, beautiful day and really, really create some space for intuitive connection. I think you might be surprised about what you receive or revisit something that you had an intuitive nudge about but dismissed. It just feels really important for you guys. All right. Have a great day, guys. Take care.